Is that really, is this really, it's just,
Right.
and again, I think it's like so many things, back to humility and knowing the limitations and not being a salesman to someone about something that you're doing, but presenting it in a very balanced way.
Right.
And so neurofeedback, I mean, obviously it's not a panacea. It doesn't work for everyone. There are people who, for whatever reason, it's not highly effective or effective at all for that matter, but it's very reliably effective. And it's very safe. I mean, as things go, especially if it's implemented by somebody who actually knows you,
Right.
as opposed to looking at your checklist and then
Yeah.
downtraining your beta that made you a songwriter.
Right. Right.
But sorry, that's a little salty.
Perhaps maybe, I mean, that can be a very immensely profitable skill too for some people, and to lose that, like, that's a big problem.
Yes.
I get it. Like, especially if you're one of the few people who are fortunate enough to earn any living from your art, which is a vanishingly small number of people.
Well, we're here in Nashville, so in the interest of privacy, we won't go any further than we have.
Sure. But
let's just say that this person wasn't doing it on an amateur level.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, here is just one of the weird things where you meet people and you're like, well, holy shit, this person has Grammys and they're just this guy that I did. But I mean, I can relate to that on a soul level, though, to lose that ability. Like, gosh, I mean, that's a grief process you have to go through at that point. And so it is important. Like, that's why I wouldn't want just some person messing with my brain. You know what I mean? Like, the brain is a terrible thing to let someone experiment with.
Yeah. And so the operant conditioning model, Eric Kandel won the Nobel back in early 2000, 2001, somewhere near 2003, for demonstrating in a very simple organism how operant conditioning works. And basically environmental stimulation causes the neuron to bud and to grow new connectivity, which is the physical substrate of learning. And so it's not surprising that younger people tend to get better results as a result of that. The neuroplasticity of the human brain peaks between the ages of 4 and 12. So that's your ideal neurofeedback candidate. But, we've trained people successfly my own age and beyond. In fact, we had one lady who had a very unfortunate incident where she suffered a bifrontal head trauma and was just severely impaired from that, and it had a long course of neurofeedback, but did really, really well with it. But again, it doesn't work for everyone. And I think a huge part of it is the person doing it, number one, are they qualified to understand the big picture? And number two, are they actually monitoring you? Are they seeing you? Are they asking, is this, because the protocol isn't set in stone. The protocol is my best guess with the consultation of someone who's been doing it for 45 years based in Minnesota. It's my best guess about what's most likely to be helpful for you individually. But again, then on an individual basis, it may or may not be. And sometimes we have people start down a path and they'll say, hey, if anything, I think things are worse. Well, let's stop. Let's back off.
Yeah.
How's it worse? Because that's another thing. Like,
right. Well, that's information too that could be revealing, right? Yeah, that's just as obvious to me that I'd be curious to know.
Right.
I've had situations where I've been talking to physicians, and I tell them, I took this drug and this thing happened, and they'll go, "That can't be right. That's not how that works." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm the data. You can't reject the data. You know what I mean? Like, what do you? It's just like, but it's like I'm blind now. I'm not making this up. I never went blind, but it was just like, no, that can't be that. You can't be right. Like, it's hysterical. And it's just like, I don't know why you would want to reject the data, but for some people, I think that some people definitely seem to have a higher tolerance for complexity than others.
Yeah, I think it's, and we may have talked about this in the past, but I really do think like that between the 15-minute visit and the pressure to see more people and the declining sort of like, there was a time when I think doctors were held in very high esteem, and between all those factors kind of come into play and people feel defensive. And there's really nothing to feel defensive about. Like, I mean, one of my favorite memories from school was for my first day of psychopharm, the professor said, the classic, if you only remember one thing, right? Okay. And then he said, any drug can do anything to anyone at any time. And I remember thinking, well, that's helpful.
What a way to narrow it down. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the most useless thing anyone's ever said.
Right.
And then, of course, like so many things, when you hear them when you're naive, and then 37 years of clinical experience later, I can say, that guy, he had it going on. He understood. Because the truth of it is like the side effect that you experience may be an uncommon side effect. We may not readily have an explanation of why that drug would cause that side effect. But if we are observing it, again, it's back to the anti-science. Here's
Yes.
something that, and they're like, no, that's impossible.
Yeah, it's
You know.
and it's not even unscientific. It's
Yes,
anti-scientific.
To the tower, Galileo.